Warnings across southeast Texas. There is a storm surge watch in effect for Cameron and Vermilion Parish, and a hurricane watch for Vermilion Parish on and off to the east. Tropical storm watches in effect over towards Lafayette and Opelousas. Again, I've said this many times, you want to have one or two things over the state of Texas to protect us, either a blocking high or a trough of low pressure. Right now we have one of those two. It's a trough of low pressure right over Texas. And this is going to be a big driver in the steering of Marco and Laura in conjunction with high pressure off towards the east. Now, yesterday and the last couple days, we were thinking that this trough of low pressure would weaken and move off to the southwest, so that would have allowed an onshore flow. That is not the case, and in fact, it looks like this upper level trough will stick around for the next few days, and that will prevent it from moving too far to the west. It also means that shear will persist in the northwest Gulf of Mexico, and as Marco approaches Louisiana, it will have the tendency to weaken. It will also keep things basically off towards the east. At least that's the consensus right now. We'll talk more about the steering in just a few minutes. First, we've got Laura over towards about 150, 160 miles to the west of Puerto Rico. And now watching Laura, or I should say Marco, in the Yucatan Channel, moving through and on into the Gulf of Mexico. It's about 100 miles to the north and northeast of Cancun, moving to the north and northwest at 13 miles an hour. Winds are 65 miles an hour, but this is a forecast to become a hurricane overnight. And as you can see, just entering the Gulf of Mexico now. So here is the latest from the National Hurricane Center. Forecast to become a Cat 1 and move on into Louisiana as we head on in to, say, Monday evening. Looks like over towards Plaquemine Parish at the present time. And again, these are not set in stone. So there is going to be still the potential that these could go east or west. But right now, there are hurricane watches in effect from the Atchafalaya River Basin, southeast Louisiana, back over to near Mobile. Then the storm will turn more to the west and northwest, go north of the lakes area, and start weakening in through East Texas, southeast of Dallas as a tropical depression. So its closest towards the triangle or to southeast Texas would be Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday evening. So that means Tuesday evening, Tuesday night, and Wednesday will likely have the best chance of rain. And again, most of that could be north of the triangle. Otherwise, wind effects will not be much of an issue. It could be a little breezy up towards the lakes area, but certainly not damaging winds. Otherwise, that's the cone of uncertainty as far as Marco goes. Now, we are also watching Laura, and Laura has got to go over, or is forecast to go over the island of Hispaniola and right up the spine of Cuba. A lot of mountains there, so that's going to limit its intensification as it continues to head off towards the west-northwest, moving into the Gulf of Mexico Monday night into Tuesday morning. Yeah, this is a very confusing graphic, but I've tried to highlight the track with Marco in red and the track of Laura in yellow. So you can see they overlap each other, and that still places southeast Texas in the cone of uncertainty with both storms. Probably Marco after landfall, and Laura towards landfall is forecast to go north. Okay, as long as these tracks hold, not going to see problems with winds, and if anything, Marco will bring us rain, but with Laura moving to the north, not much of an impact, if anything. May not see anything out of, say, Hurricane Laura or Tropical Storm Laura as it continues to move towards the north. Now, again, these tracks can shift west. They can shift east. This is a historic scenario. Look at this. Within 48 hours, between 65 miles between a landfall over towards Plaquemine and Terrebonne Parish in eastern Louisiana as possible. These are Cat 1s. But I don't want to underestimate or underplay them. Otherwise, what is the forecast track? Well, that trough of low pressure is going to weaken, and it's becoming an inverted trough of low pressure, and it's going to stick around over Texas. Now, as you can see, we're also watching the high off towards our east. It's a tug of war, which is going to win as far as the strength. And again, with this southwest flow, it looks like the best probability is in through eastern Louisiana. As you can see the flow around the high, and this protects our area because of that inverted trough. That's in relation to Marco. That's tomorrow night. Then as we head on in, right there, heading towards Louisiana. Then we watch Laura moving through Cuba, southeastern Cuba, and the trough of low pressure continues to persist over Texas. We were seeing yesterday that this would weaken and move off to the southwest, and that would induce a southeasterly wind, an onshore flow, which would allow the storm to come on into Texas. Not seeing that now. The trough looks like it's going to hold at this point, and the high may weaken a bit. Regardless, the flow around the high out of the south, bringing in bringing in Laura off towards the north. But notice the southwest shear keeping it off towards the east. At least that's what we're looking at right now. So what does this mean for us? Well, let's take a look at our forecast and the 7-day forecast. First off, let me show you some of the more reliable model data as far as rainfall. This is now through Friday, okay? This is 7 days. Look at the heaviest band of rain with Marco moving off towards the west and northwest. Heaviest rainfall will actually be north of the center, as you can see. Center, I think, is going to be tracking just to the north of our area. Not even one. Less than 1 to maybe 2 or 3. Some rises are possible, 3, maybe 4 inches. But again, the heaviest rainfall is going to be probably on the north side of that circulation as it moves on into East Texas. We've seen storms like Lily. You remember Hurricane Lily? It made landfall off towards our east as, I believe, a Cat 3. And we got nothing out of it. I may be wet in my forecast, at least as long as these forecast tracks hold and we don't see any surprises. And that's certainly not out of the question that we could see some wiggles and some jogs, shifts left and right. That's still within the realm of possibility. So my forecast is based on those tracks from the National Hurricane Center. Right now, through my experience, we're going to go with a 30% coverage on Monday, with Marco making its closest approach to our area, coming up Tuesday afternoon and evening into Wednesday. 50% coverage. Most of that may be up towards the lakes area. May not see too much in the triangle. Surprises are still possible in this very uncertain historic forecast. Then with Laura going to the north, it's a non-player. We're left with a very tropical air mass over our area as we head towards Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Looks like scattered showers and thunderstorms. But as you can see, the winds right there, not much of an issue at all for the triangle. That's where we're at right now. Do we have any questions?
Let's see. When is it set in stone? I guess when is the forecast?
Well, I think that we ought to know a bit up on Sunday as far as with Marco. Laura, I don't think is set in stone. I really want to see what happens, in my opinion, my humble opinion, what happens when this gets off of Cuba and heads into the Gulf of Mexico Monday and Tuesday. By the way, those two parishes, Lafourche back over towards Terrebonne and back over towards Plaquemine, those are 65-mile differences between the center of circulation making landfall within 48 hours. Monday night making landfall for Marco over towards Plaquemine, and then over towards Terrebonne Parish as far as Hurricane Laura. So again, want to see how this plays out and gets into the Gulf of Mexico as far as with Laura. But Marco, we ought to have a pretty good idea, I think, tomorrow, maybe into Monday, and it's obviously going to be Monday night that this is going to be making landfall. So this is one of those, I won't say nightmare scenarios, but one of those scenarios where there's a lot of play in the models. They can go still to the west. There's still a possibility that they could still turn west. But right now, it's basically between the tug of war between the high off towards Florida and the southwestern Atlantic, and that blocking trough of low pressure. We're hoping that that blocking trough of low pressure sticks around and steers it to our east. Any other questions?
What do you think GFS is showing it to do?
GFS does bring it west. It's also the force place model. Next question.
All right.
As far as accuracy goes.
So should Newton be fine from both?
Okay, next question.
Let's see. That's all we've got so far.
Okay. Well, if you're just joining us, I'll do a reprise of what's going on. We're watching Tropical Storm Marco. It is strengthening. Notice the darker colorization. That's meaning that those...
we do have some more questions.
Okay.
Well, if these two systems combine?
They will not combine. That does not happen. Next question.
Uh,
Convection really firing up. See the darker colorizations there?
so as far as the lakes area, what is anticipated for rain?
Okay, we were just showing that a minute ago. 1 to 3, maybe 4 or 5 inches possible. It just it's going to be the trajectory after landfall. Will it come right over the lakes, or it will go north of the lakes area? So again, I don't think we'll know until after landfall exactly how much rainfall. But again, these systems are going to be moving. I'm not expecting another Harvey. Everything will steer the systems and continue to move. So if you're expecting a foot of rainfall, put that out of your mind. Just does not look like. I've not seen anything that shows that. I think these are going to be movers, and they're not going to be stallers.
One person's asking about tornadoes.
Sure, north of the center of circulation, north and east of the center of circulation, wherever it makes landfall will be the best place for tornadoes. Right now, with Marco going north of the triangle, I anticipate no problems as far as that goes here in the triangle. And with Laura going well to our east, no problems as long as these are well behaved and do with what the Hurricane Center says. I guess I can continue on, but you can see how the convection is really firing up north and east of the center. This storm is on its way to becoming a hurricane. Kind of looks ragged right now, but winds are at 65 miles an hour. And again, forecast to become a hurricane tonight and head towards, that's right around Plackham and Parish, southeast of New Orleans. It looks like, I believe that's Monday night evening, it really, as a Cat 1 storm. But again, still, this cone could move. This is the cone of uncertainty. This is their error for the last 30 years, I believe it is. But again, this cone could move. Okay, this is not etched in stone. I don't think it's the uncertainty is still in the forecast. So there is still, they may say, hey, we need to pay attention more to the GFS model, or hey, we like what the Euro is showing, or the Florida State Super Ensemble, or some of the consortium of models that they're dealing with. They have so many things that we don't even get to look at, okay? So they know, they get to look at a lot of things that we don't get to look at, okay? And that's why the forecast shifted so much to the east in conjunction with what the European was doing. The European shifted on off towards the east. The GFS still has it going west. We'll see about that. Otherwise, again, if the storm moves more north, we may not see much at all in the triangle. I don't think we're going to see too much out of because of the uncertainty on this. About a 40 to 50% coverage coming up Tuesday late and Tuesday night into Wednesday, because we could still maybe see some feeder bands trying to rotate in a tropical air mass that's going to invade the area. That's within the realm of possibilities. But again, notice this is moving. It's not stalling. It's not doing any loops. We did. So put this out of your mind. I think we're okay on this one. Otherwise, by Wednesday should be a depression to the southeast of Dallas, moving on off towards the west. Otherwise, the track with Laura continues to move off to the west and northwest. Again, I've superimposed both of them over each other to show, again, there is uncertainty. The track with Laura still could come to the west. Notice the outside of southeast Texas is within the cone, well, I should say, let's say the eastern half of southeast Texas is within both cones. Otherwise, if Laura goes north, nothing here. Okay? Winds, not a problem. We won't get any rain from Laura. It'll be due to daytime heating and a tropical air mass. Marco, if it comes to the west after landfall, wind's still not going to be a problem. It's going to be rainfall. That's what we're looking at now. Any other questions?
We got some people asking about voluntary evacuations in certain.
I haven't heard of any
areas.
Well, I should say that. Was it Sabine Pass, maybe?
One person was just asking about Sabine Pass and Pleasure Island.
Pleasure Island, I believe there is. I do weather, not news, okay? I believe there is a voluntary evacuation for Sabine Pass. I believe that's correct, best of my knowledge. Any other questions? All right, gang, I hope you got everything you needed out of this. It's by no means are we out of danger, but it's certainly looking better for us as long as these are well-behaved systems and they move. If they move this far east, effect's not going to be that big of an issue. Rainfall from Marco, and as Laura goes north, nope. I think we're in good shape as long as these tracks don't change. Again, we may be back here tomorrow with these tracks shifting to the west. That's what's in the realm. It's just a historic situation that we're under. And again, I've never seen anything like this in my 25-year career. I hope to never see it again, but that's where we're at right now. As long as we see this pattern indeed unfold, then I think we're in pretty good shape. I alleviated some fears and brought you the very latest information that we have available to you. And as always, there's more weather at 12newsnow.com/weather. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and I hope you and your family have a wonderful night.